Hey guys, it's getting to be the end of the school year here, and so I am sitting down and planning out the final habit in our habit study. If you guys are interested in seeing how I plan and use the Simply Charlotte Mason Laying Down the Rails study, give this video a thumbs up and stick around. So if you are new here or you haven't seen my video on how I use this curriculum, I'm going to link that up here in the corner. It's really probably beneficial that you watch that before you watch this video because that gives you an overview of the system as a whole. Each habit though essentially takes us 6 to 8 weeks to study, and so I am going to pick our final habit for the year right now because 6 to 8 weeks from now we should be done with the school year. So what I chose, and it seemed very fitting for the time right now, was fortitude. And so essentially the way that I start each planning process is I read through the handbook and I get Charlotte Mason's thoughts on this habit. So I actually did that before I started filming this video because it takes me a couple of days to form my thoughts, underline things, and kind of mull over what my goals are for the habit. After I've formed my thoughts and thought it over for a while, then I will grab Laying Down the Rails for Children. There's a book 1 and a book 2, and it just goes in order. So I'll find the section on the habit that I have chosen, and I will write my thoughts in the parent prep section. This is a really great way to brainstorm what your goals are. It's great to have this as reference for each week as you go through the different lessons, but it's also really great to look back on and see what your goals were if you go through this with other children in the future or if you revisit a habit. Another reason I love this section is because it gives you a way to outline if you want to add in any additional lessons of your own other than what is just in the book. So for example, this lesson has 12, or this habit has 12 lessons, and there were a couple of other things I wanted to bring in, a couple other Bible stories or grandparent stories, and so writing all of this out helps me form my thoughts, and then I'm able to insert those lessons that I wanted to add in as I'm planning out my weeks in the future. Now, I'm a big fan of writing in my own handbooks. I really like to have those to reference one day in the future and just kind of think back on different seasons of life. But if you're not big on writing in your curriculum, disregard this next part. But one thing that I do after I write out my thoughts is I go through and I mark in my book which week each lesson is going to be for, and that helps me before I put the final breakdown in my planner. So the next thing I do is I just go through and put week 1, week 2, week 3, etc., and start to brainstorm here in the curriculum. After I have it all figured out where I want to put each lesson, I open up my planner, and as you can see, this actual first week of planning was already filled in. It's the week we're coming up on. But one thing that I do in my planner is I always have a section for our morning basket already written out, because those subjects never change. Other subjects like math and history, I'll change the layout of that in my planner often, just depending on what our focus is that week. But habit, poetry, composer, those are always here on the side of my planner. So I have those there, so as I brainstorm or need to write things out for the future, it's already there in my planner and I can just write them out. So I can look 6 weeks ahead confidently on our poet and on our habit study, etc., but I can't necessarily look 6 weeks ahead for reading or math. So that's why habit is filled in on every page, but other parts of my planner are not filled in. So all I do is I just go ahead and I plug in little check boxes of lesson 1, lesson 2, and then I'll flip the next page, lesson 3, lesson 4, and I'll also write out any of those individual lessons that I decided, those personal lessons that I decided to bring in each week. There you have it. It's pretty simple. That's how I plan out each habit that we're studying. Now I'll go ahead and answer a couple of questions before they're asked, because I'm sure that you guys are wondering. I'm sure I've left some holes here in the story in case you haven't watched that other video. We do habit about 2 days a week. It's part of our morning basket, and it usually takes 10 minutes or less formally. The rest of our habit study is really just focused on communicating and working on things as they come about in our natural life versus forcing lessons. So we'll talk about things 2 days a week at the school table, but then all throughout this 6-week period, we're really kind of talking about it often. The other question, if you guys are wondering, this planner is from Anna Vance. I love her planners. They are Charlotte Mason inspired, so it's definitely a great planner for things like this. There's plenty of spaces to write all of this out. And then also, I've been asked a few times recently how often we repeat habits, or if we do go back and repeat habits, if we do this as a whole. The answer is we have not yet repeated a habit, but we will if we need to circle back around. There are plenty of habits listed in here that you could do this for years and years and years without hitting the same habit twice, although it's up to you. If you feel like you need to go back and redo one, you can totally go back and redo one. We just haven't had to do that quite yet, although there is one in particular, which is order, neatness and order, that I think we might have to circle back around to within the next couple of years, just because my other kids were a little younger when we did that one, so I see it as beneficial for us to go back through that one and revisit it for a little bit. So that is how I plan, and those are just a couple of little questions I thought you guys might have had after watching this video. If you have any other questions, go ahead and put those in the comments below. If you guys like Plan With Me videos, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.